Let me tell you something the world won't whisper in your ear. The difference between the person you are and the person you're meant to become is consistency, not talent, not luck, not bursts of inspiration. It's the unglamorous, gritty, relentless act of showing up every single day. Success does not arrive in lightning bolts. It doesn't crash into your life in grand cinematic waves. No, it comes quietly, like bricks being laid, one after the other, by tired hands in the cold when no one is watching. Success is the reward for the man or woman who dares to keep building when the crowd has gone home. When applause fades, when motivation dies, and only the whisper of purpose remains. You can lie to the world, you can even lie to your friends, to your family, to your boss. But you cannot lie to the laws of the universe. The law of accumulation does not forget. Every thought, every choice, every action, it remembers. And over time, it repays you in proportion to your faith and your discipline. Thomas Edison didn't stumble into light, he earned it. Not in the moment he finally made the bulb glow, but in the thousands of hours where he failed forward. Consistency is what built that laboratory. It's what kept his hands moving while others mocked him. It's what makes his name echo in eternity. You think the greats were born great? You think Carnegie had certainty? That Lincoln never doubted himself? That Henry Ford always had clarity? No, they just made one decision and kept making it. They decided not to quit. Because success is a process, not a performance. It's not found in your highlight reel, but in your habits. Not in your promises, but in your patterns. You can dream all day, you can cast visions, make plans, read books, post quotes. But until you do the same things over and over again, even when it hurts, even when it's boring, even when you want to burn it all down, you will never cross the threshold. Consistency is the gatekeeper. And here's what no one tells you. The first to show up rarely wins. It's the one who keeps showing up. Because when you move consistently, you tap into a force greater than your will. You activate something spiritual. You form a bond with your future self. You align with destiny. And what begins as effort becomes energy. What begins as resistance becomes rhythm. What begins as discipline becomes divine flow. But that bridge is not crossed in one leap. It's crossed step by painful step. You want success? Put consistency first, not excitement. Not perfection, not speed. Consistency. Be willing to be ordinary daily before you can ever become extraordinary. Because when the seed is planted, it does not bloom tomorrow. You water it, you care for it. You believe in it even when the soil looks dead. That's consistency. And life rewards the stubborn believer. The one who stays when everyone else leaves. The one who sharpens their axe when the tree won't fall. The one who keeps digging when there's no gold in sight. You think you're waiting on your big break? No, your big break is waiting on you. It's watching you, watching what you do in the dark, watching how you treat the process, watching whether you can be trusted with results before they arrive. You must earn your future before you see it, and you earn it through consistency. So ask yourself, are you the person who starts strong and fades fast, or are you the one who refuses to stop? Because the world doesn't crown the inspired, it crowns the consistent. Let this sink deep. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits are not made in sparks. They are carved in repetition. They are forged in fire. They are shaped by sweat. They are built when you don't want to build. Every day, life is testing your sincerity. Every day, the universe is whispering, "Oh, show me you're ready. Show me you're ready. Show me you won't disappear the moment it gets hard. Show me you're willing to walk even when you can't yet run." Because success, true, legendary, lasting success belongs to those who show before they're seen, who grind before they're glorified, who persist before they're praised. Put consistency first and success will have no choice but to follow. The tragedy isn't that people aim too high and miss. The tragedy is that they aim too low and hit because aiming high requires consistency. But aiming low? That's easy. It costs you nothing. It demands no discipline. It asks for no sacrifice. It lets you sleep in. It lets you scroll endlessly. It whispers lies that a someday is good enough. But a someday is a coffin for the life you were born to live. You want to break free? Then understand this. Consistency is not just a behavior. It's an identity. You are either someone who follows through or someone who fades. And you teach yourself that truth every day by the promises you keep to yourself when no one else is watching. It's not what you do when you feel good that defines your life. It's what you do when you feel nothing, when your spirit is dry, when your fire is low, when there's no applause, no momentum, no magic. What do you still do? Because that is the man or woman you really are. And the universe does not reward inspiration. It rewards alignment. Alignment between who you say you are and who you choose to be daily. Every morning is a courtroom, and every action is evidence. Are you defending your dreams or making a case for your mediocrity? Let's be brutally honest. Most people are addicted to starting. They get high off beginnings, new goals, new journals, new workouts. They love the rush of potential, but potential means nothing if it never becomes momentum. The winners, they're addicted to finishing. They're obsessed with progress. They fall in love with monotony because they know the truth. The mundane is sacred. Greatness is hidden in the ordinary, and only the consistent ever get close enough to find it. Do you think Walt Disney made magic with a wand? No, he made it with ritual, day after day, sketch after sketch, rejection after rejection. He didn't wake up inspired every day, but he showed up like he was, and eventually his belief infected the world. That's what happens when you stay loyal to your vision. But you can't be loyal to a vision if you're not loyal to yourself. Your goals don't need louder words. They need deeper roots, and roots grow underground, where nobody sees them, where there's no spotlight, no recognition, just slow, silent, unseen effort. And it's there, in that silence, that champions are born. Because in a world obsessed with speed, consistency is rebellion. Everyone wants instant results, instant validation, instant rewards. But the universe, it deals in compound interest. You will not see fruit until you've earned the root. You will not see reward until you've weathered the routine. You will not win until you refuse to quit. Stop asking for fireworks when you haven't mastered the matchstick. The man who walks 1 mile a day, every day, will always outrun the one who sprints once a month. Because movement without consistency is chaos. But movement with consistency, that becomes momentum. And momentum becomes a miracle. You want a better life? Do better daily. Don't chase the finish line. Fall in love with the foot. Because the man who sharpens his sword every day doesn't fear the battle, he welcomes it. Because he knows he's ready. And readiness comes not from potential, but from practice. You want the throne? Carry the weight. You want the crown? Endure the pressure. Because consistency is how you prove you're worthy of the thing you keep praying for. So I ask you, when the feeling fades, will you still follow through? When it gets hard, will you still hold the line? When no one sees you, will you still stand tall? Because that is the measure of a master. That is the making of a giant. Not noise, not spectacle, but sacred discipline, repeated, refined, remembered. Consistency is the hammer that breaks down your fear. It is the chisel that shapes your future. It is the compass when you feel lost. It is the fire when motivation turns to ash. Put it first above emotion, above comfort, above applause, and you will rise above average again and again and again. Understand this. Your future is not asking for a perfect version of you. It's asking for a present version of you who shows up anyway, even when it's raining, even when your hands shake, even when your heart is tired, even when no one believes in you but you. Because consistency is not a feeling. It is a decision. And when you learn to make that decision in the absence of applause, you become unstoppable. The greatest among us, those who carved their names into the fabric of history, they all learned how to persist through silence, through rejection, through delay, through drought. Abraham Lincoln lost more elections than most will ever enter. But he kept showing up, kept refining, kept believing. And when his moment came, he was not only ready, he was inevitable. That's what consistency does. It doesn't make success easy, it makes success undeniable. But let's be clear. You cannot be consistent if you are obsessed with results. Results are the byproduct of discipline. They are not the fuel. You must learn to work without reward, to sweat without celebration, to move without measurement, because the harvest doesn't come when you want it. It comes when the ground has been faithfully tended. And that's where most people break. They sow for 7 days and demand a lifetime of fruit. They want the body without the reps, the wealth without the work, the peace without the pruning. But you must be different. You must be dangerously dependable. The kind of person who shows up in storms, the kind who trains while others talk, the kind who lives by principle, not by popularity. because the world bends for the one who refuses to bend. Let others chase the shortcut. You take the stairs, let them mock your process. You master it. Let them rush to build their towers on sand. You build yours on stone, stone forged in hours of repetition, stone shaped by early mornings and late nights, stone cemented by the choice to not quit a day. That's how you win, not in leaps, but in layers. Not in noise, but in nuance. Not in bursts, but in becoming. You want to live a rare life? Then do the rare thing. Be consistent when it's hard. Wake up when it's dark. Train when you're tired. Practice when you're unseen. Learn when you're discouraged. Speak life when you want to complain. Move forward when the voices say, it doesn't matter. Because it does matter. Every act of consistency is a vote for your future. Every repetition is a declaration of who you are. Every day you show up, you are telling the world, I am not like the rest, and eventually the world listens. Eventually, the doors open. Eventually, the results that once seemed impossible become inevitable. But only for those who refuse to fold. You see, discipline is not restrictive. It is liberating. Because when you're consistent, you don't need motivation. You don't need pep talks. You don't need to feel ready. You're already moving. You're already becoming. There's a calm that comes when you know you're aligned. When your days stack in harmony. When your habits are your allies. When your progress is no longer fragile because your process is solid. That's the reward of consistency. It is not just success. It is stability. It is strength. It is a deep inner peace that no failure can shake. Because when your life is built on consistency, failure doesn't end you, it refines you. Disruption doesn't break you, it strengthens your roots. And success, it no longer surprises you because you earned it day by day, brick by brick. So if you're waiting for the perfect time, stop. If you're chasing the perfect feeling, stop. If you're wishing for a lightning bolt, stop. You don't need lightning, you need logs. Add a log to the fire every day. Small, steady, unshakable. Because it's not the flames that keep you warm, it's the fuel you never stopped adding. And the moment you commit to that level of consistency, life changes, not overnight, but inevitably. The greatest tragedy is not that people fail, it's that they stop. Right before the shift, right before the breakthrough, right before the momentum was about to kick in and carry them through the storm. They think the silence means nothing is happening, but they forget seeds grow in silence. You don't hear the roots digging deep. You don't see the muscle forming under strain. You don't feel the shift while you're in the middle of the valley. But that's where all the becoming happens. See, the problem isn't that life is unfair. The problem is that most people are unfaithful to the path they said they believed in. They want to reach the mountaintop, but they won't commit to the climb. They want the rewards of greatness, but treat discipline like punishment. And let me tell you something only the few understand. Success is not hard to find. It's hard to stay committed to. Because once the honeymoon ends, once the initial rush wears off, once the crowds are gone and all that's left is you, your dream, and your discipline, that's where the real battle begins. Consistency isn't about being the best every day. It's about being willing every day. Willing to take the next step. Willing to say yes to growth again. Willing to show up at the altar of your purpose even when the fire doesn't fall from heaven. It's the same story in every life that matters. Oprah didn't become Oprah by talent alone. She became her by showing up on days when the world doubted her, when her voice trembled, when the odds were rigged against her. But she refused to be inconsistent with the vision she held in her soul. Every icon you admire was once invisible, once ordinary, once forgotten. But they refused to stay there. They practiced in empty rooms. They rehearsed their craft in silence. They trained when it wasn't exciting. And they trusted that if they were faithful to the process would eventually prove faithful to them. You see, this is the quiet truth of consistency. It compounds, like interest on a hidden account. At first, it looks like nothing. No return, no profit, no progress. But then one day it hits. One day the scale tips. And all the small days you thought didn't matter combine into something undeniable. And people will call it a miracle. But you'll know the truth. It was just Monday. It was just another day you decided to stay committed. Another day you put your values above your feelings. Another day you sharpened your sword while no one was clapping. Consistency is not exciting, but it is exceptional because almost no one does it. They chase highs, they chase trends, they chase applause. But the person who chases standards, that person becomes unstoppable. You want to lead a rare life? Then adopt rare habits. Because the quality of future is hidden in the quantity of your discipline. Every time you choose to do the hard thing instead of the easy thing, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. And enough votes, that's identity. Eventually, you don't have to push yourself anymore. Because discipline becomes who you are. The runner doesn't wake up wondering whether to run. He runs because he is a runner. The writer doesn't negotiate with the page. She writes because she's a writer. The leader doesn't wait to feel courageous. He leads because he's built that way. That's the gift of consistency. It builds you while you're building your dream. It transforms you in ways you never expected. It gives you the one thing no motivation ever could: character. And character, my friend, is destiny. Because a life built on motivation is fragile, but a life built on consistency is fortress strong. So if you want to rise, rise slowly, rise intentionally. Rise with your eyes on the habits, not the hype. Because when you put consistency first, success becomes your shadow. Not because you chased it, but because you walked in alignment so long, so faithfully, that it had no choice but to follow. There's a force in this world that rewards those who refuse to betray their mission. It's not luck, it's not fate. It's the invisible handshake between discipline and destiny. And that handshake is signed in repetition, in the rituals you perform when no one applauds, in the standards you honor when there's no one to impress. Consistency is how you earn the right to lead yourself. Because if you can't follow your own instructions, why should the world follow you? You want to become someone others believe in? Then be the person who follows through. Be the person who executes. Be the person who decides once and commits forever. We live in an age that celebrates urgency, but urgency without consistency is chaos. It's noise. It's fire without direction. You don't need more urgency. You need more order, more rhythm, more alignment. Because consistency creates credibility. And credibility is magnetic. It draws opportunity. It invites leadership. It builds legacies. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. You think his impact was made in speeches alone? No, it was built in meetings, in planning sessions. In the daily discipline of a man who walked in principle, not popularity. He became a symbol of justice because he lived in consistent obedience to a cause greater than himself. And that is the mark of true success, when your life becomes evidence of what you believe. So what are you proving with your patterns? What do your days say about your destiny? Because the truth is, you are becoming something. Whether you're intentional or not, whether you're consistent with excellence or with excuses, you are becoming, and every repeated action is a brick laid on the foundation of your character, shaping the house you will have to live in tomorrow. If that house is strong, it will protect you in the storms. But if it's built on flakiness, on procrastination, on shortcuts, then don't be surprised when the wind takes everything. You see, failure isn't found in one catastrophic moment. Failure is slow. It's silent. It's the erosion of integrity. One skipped commitment at a time. One postponed effort. One "I'll do it tomorrow" repeated until tomorrow becomes never. But consistency is how you reverse the decay. It's how you climb out of mediocrity. It's how you fortify your life with meaning. Every single day you have a choice: to plant or postpone, to honor or hesitate, to act or excuse. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do the next right thing repeatedly. And over time, that repetition becomes transformation. Transformation of your mind, your emotions, your energy, your future. And that's what makes consistency sacred. It's not robotic, it's spiritual, because the act of repeating excellence shapes not just your habits, but your beliefs. And belief, my friend, is the soil of all destiny. The moment you trust yourself to stay the course, you begin to unlock power most people will never touch. You move differently. You speak with conviction. You no longer rely on outside permission because you've built an inner authority through your effort. This is what it means to master yourself. And once you do that, there's nothing this world can deny you. Because the consistent man cannot be manipulated. He is too grounded, too focused, too certain of where he's going to be pulled by distraction or delay. You want to be great? Then give up the need to be constantly entertained. Trade dopamine for discipline. Trade likes for legacy. Trade comfort for character. And I promise you, there will come a moment when what once felt heavy will feel light. when what once required force will feel like flow. Not because it got easier, but because you got stronger. And that strength, that quiet, unshakable strength, it was never gifted to you. It was earned through consistent choices that no one saw, but heaven recorded. So don't ask for signs. Don't wait for clarity. Don't seek motivation. Just move. Move forward. Move steady. Move daily. Put consistency first, and everything else will fall into place behind it. You want the crown? Carry the weight when no one is watching. You want the glory? Bleed for it in private. Because what you do unseen determines what you become unstoppable at in the open. The world doesn't owe you success. Life doesn't hand out fulfillment for free, but it will offer both to the one who earns them through relentless consistency. Not the loudest, not the luckiest, not the most gifted, but the most faithful, faithful to the process, faithful to the vision, faithful to the grind when the dream still looks like dust. Success isn't an explosion, it's a slow burn. A quiet flame that stays alive through the coldest nights because you keep feeding it, log by log, task by task, sacrifice by sacrifice. Most people want to shine, but few are willing to stay lit in the dark. Few are willing to keep going when the wind howls, when the storm breaks, when the results are invisible, and all you've got left is your belief. But that belief, backed by consistency, becomes your firepower. You see, when you move with discipline, you start living on a different frequency. You begin to attract the kind of momentum that doesn't knock politely. It kicks the door down. Suddenly, the same efforts that used to break you now build you. The same weight that once crushed your spirit now carves your character. You don't panic anymore because you've already been through worse. You don't fold anymore because your roots are too deep. You don't second guess because you've already proven to yourself that you're the kind of person who follows through. And that is what separates the few from the many. The many start strong. The few finish anyway. The many talk about goals. The few live inside them. The many get excited. The few get aligned. You want to change your life? Then stop giving 100% once a week and start giving 1% every single day. Because success is not one massive decision. It's a million microscopic ones. And every time you choose consistency over convenience, you carve a new path forward. You chisel away what doesn't serve you. You strip the weakness from your will. And slowly, quietly, you become unrecognizable to the old you. You wake up one day and realize you are no longer chasing greatness. You are greatness, not because you reached the mountaintop, but because you earned every inch of the climb. That's the magic most never taste. They chase the illusion but abandon the integrity. But you built it, brick by brick, day by day, without applause, without shortcuts, without permission. You wrote the contract in sweat and you honored it with action. So now, let them call it talent. Let them say it was easy for you. Let them whisper stories to justify their own mediocrity. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain, because your results speak louder than their reasons. You put consistency first, and now success is following you like a shadow. You walk into rooms differently. You speak with weight, you move with certainty. Not because you've earned the right to stand in your power. There is no arrogance in confidence when it's been forged in struggle. There is no shame in strength when it's been paid for in sweat. You did what most won't, and now you live how most can't. So hear this. Whatever your dream is, whatever your goal, whatever mountain you're climbing, keep going. Keep showing up, keep laying the bricks even when it feels like no one sees. Because the life you're building is being watched by the only person who matters, you. And the version of you 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, will thank you, will bless you, will stand tall because you refuse to stay small. Consistency is not just a trait. It's a weapon, a mindset, a movement. It is the silent sacred promise between your present struggle and your future strength. So write that promise in action. Write it in courage. Write it in the mundane. And let the world look up one day and wonder how you got there. And you'll smile quietly because you'll know you didn't get lucky. You got consistent.